All right, in this video, we're going to talk about what to do when your right tool is not working. So I'm in QuickBooks Online. I'm looking over my right-hand side. I don't see my right tool working. I'm freaking out. Okay, so let's talk through all the things that you want to try first before sounding the alarms. First thing you want to do is make sure it is installed. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it gets uninstalled, or maybe you are in a different computer or in a different Chrome profile or in a different browser, and you haven't realized that it hasn't been fully installed. So I'll put a link to this page in the description so you know what the exact page you need to go into to install the extension. But just make sure that you go into here and click on Add to Chrome. Okay, so that's obviously the first step. If you didn't have it installed, or if it was inactive for some reason, obviously it wasn't going to show. Now, let's take it one step further. Let's say, for example, it's already installed and it will say here remove from Chrome. Now you could remove it and reinstall it. The problem with that is that if you do that, you're going to lose all your custom favorites and all the settings that you have already. So there's actually a way to back those up, and we'll discuss backing up those things in a little bit. But I just don't recommend removing it from Chrome and reinstalling it as an approach to fixing it, because again, I don't want you to lose any of your custom settings that you have in there. So the next step to do is we're going to click on the three little dots all the way to the top right of the Chrome browser. Click on the three little dots, and then we're going to click on where it says extensions. Okay. By doing that, I'll be able to go into the manage extensions area, which is going to show me all the Chrome extensions I have installed. Now you're going to see a little toggle here that shows you whether or not that extension has been turned on. So in my case, I have a whole bunch of extensions, but you want to look for this RightTool for QuickBooks Online extension, and then this little checkbox turns it off or on. So if I turn it off, which is not the same thing as removing it, I'm not removing it, I'm simply just turning it off. If I turn it off, then I am disabling, and this is something that maybe I'm doing on purpose. Now you want to check here on the top of the screen where it says developer mode. If you uncheck that, you get a little bit less options. So typically I want to be on developer mode, which gives me a little bit more information and flexibility here on the top right. Now I want to mention that when the extension is disabled and you go into the Google Chrome store, it will say remove for Chrome, letting you know that it is installed, but it'll also show you this item is inactive, enable now. So by clicking on enable now, that literally activates it, and it's the same thing as going into the screen and turning it on. Okay, so we talked about installing, uninstalling it, turning it off, turning it on. Now let's go here into the details button so we can go into the details of the installed Chrome extension. And the other thing you want to make sure is that this checkbox that says automatically allow access to the following sites, it needs to be checked so every single one of these is turned on. If you see that maybe some of these are turned on and you see some independently turned off, you can just independently turn them on, make sure everything is turned on. If any of these things is not turned on, it's not going to work properly. So sometimes it's easier to just automatically switch everything off and switch everything on. Sometimes that's just the easiest way to do it. Just automatically allow access to all the sites. That's really, really important. Down here at the bottom, there's this option that says pin to toolbar. I recommend that, and we're going to cover that in a second. And allow in incognito, that's going to be up to you. If you're going to be using it on incognito mode or not. That's going to be totally up to you. And then down here, we have a button to remove the extension, which we're not asking you to do that. The other thing I really strongly recommend with developer mode turned on, click here on update. Always go back and update it just to make sure you are on the latest version. Okay. If you want to know what the latest version is, you go into RightTool.app and you click on updates here in the top. And usually it takes me a couple hours to update. Like for example, I have the latest update here, 12.5, and the actual latest, truly latest update in this case is 1.23.6. So I'm actually a little bit off there, but usually we go into this website and we add all the updates and explain all the things that the update has fixed. So as long as your version here, let's just go back here to this page, 1.23.6 or whatever is showing on your screen, is the same or higher than the last update we put on the website, you're probably on the latest version. So you always want to update, until it says extensions updated, and you're going to be in that latest version. Okay, so we're going to X out of that, go back into QuickBooks Online. Now I can refresh QuickBooks Online, and hopefully my RightTool app is showing. Now, if your RightTool app is not showing, still not showing, we are going to click on the little RightTool icon here on the top. That's what pin to toolbar meant. And by the way, if I click on the little, there's like a little puzzle icon, and then I go down and find RightTool and click on the little pin button, it would allow me to pin it. So in this case, if I unpin it, it doesn't show up anymore. If I pin it, it shows up here in the top. So you kind of want to always pin it so you have the RightTool menu up there. And if you click on that, if you click with your regular left button, you click on that, you're going to see turn off sidebar. So if by any chance you had clicked on turn off sidebar, your RightTool might be missing as a sidebar. Now it's still active, it's still turned on. So some of the RightTool settings will still work, but you don't see it on the right bar. So you might want to click there and just make sure that you don't have it on off. So we're going to click on turn on sidebar. So that could be a way to sort of reset it. Turn off the sidebar, turn on the sidebar, see if it shows up. Okay. Another thing you want to do to troubleshoot is to click on that and click here. It says reload extension if nothing is working. If the extension is missing or it's not working or not reacting or a feature is not working, that's always a good thing to do. Just reload the extension. And then finally, you can click here. It says clear cache with, you could also use with Control Shift tilde. Clear cache, what it does is it does a cache clearing of all your QuickBooks Online websites or your domains. So that's as much as you can do. One last thing you can do is click on the little site settings button here. And then here you can see where it says cookie and site data. And it'll basically allow you to go into your settings browser. Now, if you also search for cookie in the search box and you go here, it says delete browsing data. Here, this is another place where you can actually delete your cache and cookies. If you click here, delete your data, it actually deletes your browsing history, it deletes your cookies and other data. So if you want to take more extreme measures, you can do that. And essentially, almost all your history from every website that you've been to is going to be cleared out, including the websites or the URLs that you have gone to in the past. So this one is probably a much more deeper, extreme way of going through deleting cache and cookies, but it's also an option as well. And I would say lastly, if after trying all that and clicking on refresh, if it's still not working, see, notice I even lost my login process here because my cache and cookies were not working. So that's actually going to be very typical of like doing like a massive cache and cookie clearing. You will actually lose all this stuff. So I have to actually go back and do my re-authentication to be able to log back in. So just keep in mind that doing a hard cache and cookies clearing is going to force you to have to sort of like log back in and log back in into all your websites and do your authentication over again. So that very last one is the most extreme one. I would suggest that we try the RightTool clear cache because that one doesn't log you out. That one only clears the cache of your QBO and it doesn't clear you out. The other thing that's worth mentioning is sometimes Google Chrome just needs an update. Like you'll go into like one of the help menus and it might have a pending update. Like in this case, I don't have any pending update. But here on the right of the screen, three little dots here, sometimes you'll have a warning up here at the top that says, hey, we need to do an update to Google Chrome or we need to update your permissions. Follow through with those, do an update or Chrome, and sometimes you might have to just close Chrome completely and basically just like quit, right? Like quit out of Google Chrome and go back in it for it to sort of like reset all the cache and cookie stuff, reset all the login stuff, reset all the extension stuff and that sort of thing. So that's something you could always try is just like just completely update and log out and log in back into Chrome, and then log in back into QuickBooks and see if now maybe finally when we go into QuickBooks Online, RightTool finally shows up on your right-hand side. Now, one thing, very last thing I want to mention is when you click on the settings here in RightTool, which you can also access by right-clicking on the pin icon and then clicking on options. Okay, so there's two ways to kind of do that. If you're logged out of the Pro account, this is where you want to click on log in, because if you're a paid Pro user, you want to come back in here and use your RightTool user ID or password, or if you have created this with your Intuit login, log in one more time, make sure you're fully logged in, and then once you're fully logged in, it should say here under account, under the login page, it'll say your account is updated and all your pro features should be unlocked. So when you go back into uh, QuickBooks and hit refresh, RightTool should now be on the pro version and not just the pre version. So the free version. So just again, pretty long video to kind of walk you through, but these are all the things that you want to kind of build a muscle around troubleshooting in your browser, because extensions are tricky in that way. So just gotta keep that in mind. Go through all that before sounding the alarm and freaking out about something in RightTool is not working, because 9 times out of 10 is something weird with the browser, something weird with the updates, something weird with the permissions, and you kind of want to go through all these motions to get your RightTool back up. So hopefully this video is helpful, and thank you very much for being a RightTool user.